Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, it's still the Car Radio Show. Your favorite show worldwide. Yes! What? Welcome back! Yes, so I've got some pink things in the car today. We are talking breast cancer awareness. And today, we have Dr. Dsane-Aidoo on the show. We are happy to have him on the show to educate us on breast cancer. Doc, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having you on the show.
I'm loving your pink this afternoon.
Yeah, so how has it been for you as a medical practitioner over the years?
Well, it's been amazing. I've been transitioning from clinical practice now into public health and to other stuff. And one of the exciting parts also of our job now has been health literacy, you know, into health journalism. And also it's been exciting over the years, transition from different aspects of medical practice, and
wow,
it's amazing.
Wow, good to know. Now, a lot of people have been talking about so many things around health and the human body and everything. Now we are in October, which is Pink October.
That's right.
And we are talking about breast cancer. So basically, what is breast cancer?
Well, when we say, first of all, let me say hello to all your listeners and viewers. When we say cancer, the body has genes that regulates the growth of different parts of the body. And the breast has genes that regulates the growth of the genes of the breast. So we expect the breast to grow proportionally by the body.
Okay.
Of course, there are different varieties of proportions. Sometimes one breast is typically larger than the other, but generally there's a general formation and growth by the age and sex. So for males, you expect some size of breasts by the body size and the age. For females, as they grow, some, you know, the growth, you know, goes by their age and the body size. You know, a few come in excesses, a few come in smaller, but you know, so a breast, when there's a cancer, it means that that part of the body is growing abnormally beyond proportions, and it has a capacity to move. The cells of that body part has a capacity to move from that part to another part of the body. So when you have a breast cancer, what we're trying to say is that the breast cells are growing abnormally beyond their normal sense of growth, and they have the potential to move from there to another part of the body. And that becomes dangerous for us. Wow.
Yes, tune from the center, Jolly, check it out. We're still live on the Car Radio Show with Dr. Paul. Breast cancer. Let's enjoy this tune when we come back. We'll have more. What? Okay, so Doc, what are the causes of breast cancer?
Well, when we say a cause, we know of cause and effect. Something happens, another thing results.
Okay.
For breast cancers, we can't really pinpoint what causes it, but we know of what we call risk factors, or factors that put you at risk. So, for example, there are familiar issues. If you have some relatives, a mother, an auntie, sister, it can run in the family. The breast cancer genes, there's what we call breast cancer genes that can run through families. And so that is one risk factor. If you have a family member, you know, that close family member with that history, you need to do regular checks. Again, it's been associated, or some of the risk factors have been obesity. Right? It doesn't mean that being obese will cause breast cancer, but it's been associated through research. And then smoking, drinking alcohol have all been associated with breast cancer. But let's state that breast cancer can also affect males. Actually, it's even probably more.
Is it common in males?
It's very rare in males. It's not uncommon in males, I should say. It's not uncommon in males. It can affect males, and it's even more aggressive in males and more deadly in males because you don't really expect it.
Yeah.
So even when it's happening, they don't even report it at all. So we don't have causes, but these are some of the associated factors related to breast cancer.
Wow. Okay. You can call 0242-806-965. It's still the Car Radio Show. So, Doc, let's look at the symptoms. How will you know that you have breast cancer?
Well, I must say that you need an expert to tell you that you have breast cancer. But as women, I believe that most of the focus is on women, but these are general things also for males as well. Generally, every woman must learn to examine the breasts.
Okay.
We don't have enough breasts here to show our viewers how to go about it. But every morning you should be able to stand before the mirror.
Okay.
We advise that you can put your hand at the back that exposes the right. Then you can, if depending on the shape, you can literally divide the breast into 4 and examine it over the 4 regions.
Okay.
You know, with your right. Then you can put the right hand to here and examine. Then the armpit as well. You need to look through the armpit. Now, some of the symptoms that you can find when you're doing these examinations, that all of a sudden you realize that one breast may be growing bigger than the other. A cause for concern. It doesn't mean you have breast cancer, but it's one of the things that can show when you have breast cancer. Again, you can have a lump.
Okay.
You know, something inside one breast. For most young people will see lumps in their breast. Most of them are what we call benign. It doesn't cause trouble. It's not cancerous. But now we are seeing a lot of these things even in younger age groups. So we don't advise that you take it lightly if you see any lump in your breast. Of course, if you hold your breast this way, you feel lumps in it. But if you examine, you must examine against your chest wall. Then you can be sure that what exactly is there is a lump, and a lump that is coming there. Then some have abnormal breast discharge. Okay. The breast is allowed to have only breast milk coming from it. If you have greenish, yellowish, reddish, blackish, all kinds of discharges coming from the nipple, you need to be concerned. You need to see your doctor for some assessments. Some are so trivial that it can show as just some ulcers at the nipple area. Wow. And you may just think it's some sore dressing it before you realize it's a cancer. But one of the things we must let our listeners know is that the breast extends into your armpit. So there are cases where people have had breast cancer starting from the armpit area and they think it's pompo. Wow. Or it's a boil, you know, and it's actually a breast cancer. So we advise that you seek early concerns from your doctors.
Now let's look at the rural areas where, because I know of cases where when people realize they have some lumps in their breast, the grandmothers sort of try to bust it.
Our grandmothers are the best of surgeons and everything. So it's a big concern because especially in the typical Ghanaian environment, one of the cultural issues that people think that when you have a boil, it is not for the hospital. In fact, some people can come to the hospital and they will refuse you for giving them injections because they said that almost say pompodi in fact it literally means that as for boils, we don't touch it with a knife or a needle. Wow. And so they stay at home and do all kinds of concoctions. But just that simple boil on the breast or in the armpit can actually be a very significant symptom preceding the breast cancer. So
does it mean once you find some boiling armpit, quickly you need to go to the hospital?
You need to joke about your issues affecting sexuality, especially for the women. In a social cultural setting like this, which is very patriarchal, women are very careful about issues and matters affecting their sexuality. When it has to do with their breasts, they are shy. They want to cover up. So by the time they come, it's way too late. So we encourage women to be open. If there's something affecting your breasts, you need to see your doctor.
Wow. All right, so guys, yes, I told you, Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
I wanna take you.
Dr. Paul Johnny is still with us. And guys, we are getting education. That's how we do it on the Car Radio Show. Subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and everywhere. So tune from the center, Jolly. Check it out on all streaming stores. We'll be right back. What? So doc, is breast cancer curable?
It is. Breast cancer, this is an emphatic statement. Breast cancer is curable, and there are several survivors of breast cancer. Wow. And as we talked about symptoms, you must know that when you have these symptoms, don't be scared at home. You know, to think that I might be getting breast cancer. There are lots of things that show. It's like fever. When your body is hot, there are lots of things that it could be malaria, it could be Ebola, it could be anything. So when you have these symptoms, all we're trying to say, they are warning signs, and then when you go, they will do mammogram, especially. We can detect breast cancer through mammograms, and other specialized tests, biopsies and other things. And usually we advise that after the age of 35, we encourage you to do mammograms, especially when there's a family history of breast cancer in your family. You have an auntie who died from breast cancer, a mother. We encourage you by the age of 35, at least you should do mammography. And breast cancer is curable only when you come early. You know, when you delay and it spreads, I told you that the cancer has a capacity to spread. Once it moves from the breast to the liver. So one of the things we do is that when someone has breast cancer, we suspect the person has breast cancer. We don't just do tests for the breast, we do tests for the whole part of the body. And our concern is that, has this thing moved out of where it's supposed to be? Once it's confined in the breast, you can be saved, you can be cured. There are several ways of cure. Sometimes we do surgeries, sometimes we give injections, medications, chemotherapy, we have radiotherapy, and it's curable. It's curable.
Okay, so we'll cross over and talk to somebody on the line. He's been so passionate about this topic, and then we'll get back and wrap up with the show. So we have Ohiniba on the line. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, Ohiniba.
Yeah.
Yes, Doc is here.
Yeah, okay, great. I wanted to ask Doc 2 questions.
Okay, Ohiniba.
One, Doc, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. I'm also doing fine. My first question is, I've always been reading that it's always good for men to massage their women's foot and also to suck it to prevent, how do you call it, breast cancer. Is that true? And if it is true, if a woman is already infested or already has a cancerous cell developed in the breast, what are some of the things that the men can also do to help to make sure that such a thing can be cured? That is something that I want to find out from you.
Okay, Ohiniba. I'm not sure which of them you want me to answer first.
I think the very first one first, and then the follow-up too.
So really, this has been very interesting. But one of the things about partners, intimate partners, examining or massaging or fondling or playing with the breasts of their partners, that it's easy to pick up something from it easily. Sometimes if it's your own body, you're a bit biased, but when your partner fondles, plays, so the ladies out there are our mothers and our wives, and it's not a bad thing at all. Because then when there's a change, it picks it up early. Kind of love play, as it were, helps to save women, and then I keep telling the story of a patient who came to die here in Kaswa, who had breast cancer for several years, about 10 years or over, and how the husband had been supporting her. Hers was late, she was on oxygen, but the husband was able to support her through 10 years, and she was able to survive the disease for 10 years. And until the last day of her breath, when the husband brought her himself, when she had seized the last breath, brought her himself to the hospital, and it's inspiring to know that when there's emotional support, we can fight anything at all. And we encourage the men out there. Most men, when the wife even has a breast cancer and the breast has to be, some of the treatments, you have to cut off the breast. Some men suddenly change and start behaving funny, as if the breast is their property. But really, the woman goes through a lot of trauma and emotions, and we encourage men to fill those gaps. If a woman loses one breast, there's a huge gap left, and men, instead of having a posture of deficiency, we encourage them to rather support them, and you can have a very good life with your partner who is even a survivor of breast cancer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what it means is that if the cells have already started developing in the breast, there's nothing you can do in terms of sucking or fondling that will help it.
No, I heard about no amount of sucking or fondling can reverse cancerous changes. Well, unless you have to take it out as a research work, but really, no amount of fondling or sucking or massaging or squeezing or all kinds of modalities can reverse cancer cells. But like you said, it helps when a second person detects it, you know, it's easier for a second person to pick it up.
Oh, okay.
You understand? So that's one of the ways that people believe that sucking and massaging by husbands and all sexual partners help to save women's life from breast cancer.
Wow, thank you.
Oh, okay. And then one last question.
Yes, please.
I read also somewhere that cancerous cells survive on protein.
Okay.
So during the time of having such a thing, if you are able to catch up a lot of protein intake,
cancerous cells is very complex, and you know the body, you know, it has to be supported. Of course, you lose weight when you have cancers. You need proteins to gain weight, so it's a very complex management, and dietitians and surgeons and all people, medical people, have to come on board to manage a patient with cancer.
All right.
Yes,
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
I'm sure I will try and also trace you and come to the office for more detailed
That would be amazing.
explanation. And it was good to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Eniba. Wow. Okay, so we'll cross over and take another caller. Doc.
I'm loving your show, man.
You know, when I said I'll bring Doc on the show, everybody was like, yes, yes, yes. So guys, welcome back. It's still the Car Radio Show with Dr. Dsane-Aidoo. Yes, sir, it's pink. The show is on fire. What? You the one for me. I'll give you dollar. You the one matter. Girl, I go buy your mansion. Oh, drink, money, come here. That's it. Jolly. Alright, so guys, on the 18th of October 2019, Alliance Francaise Ghana presents Tell, the theatre production directed by Abuna Dansoa, happening live at Alliance Francaise. The time is 8 p.m. sharp. You need to make yourself there. Just Friday, 18th. Tell me loud. Yes, so welcome back, guys. So Doc, welcome back. So why do people decide to come to the hospital late for treatment?
Well, there are several factors. You know, the first thing is that people say I'd better not know. So it's very interesting when you ask some people that, oh, would you want to test for HIV? They say I'd better not know. So because they think that when I know I'll die faster. No, really, actually, there's help for you. You know, so the woman sees a lump in her breast.
Yes.
So she goes into denial. I better not know. So she keeps hanging around until actually the whole breast is rotten. Wow. You know, the second thing is that I'm waiting to get enough money to go to the hospital. So she sees there's something there, but she's actually waiting to gather money, and money never comes.
But I think it's even cheaper to come when
exactly the point,
in the early
because
stage.
It can be very expensive, even when it gets to a late stage, and we advise people to come, just come. You know, sometimes it's not even a cancer. You know, it's not cancerous. Whatever you're seeing there is not cancerous, and you just need the expert to see and tell you what is happening. You need to know what is happening to your body. All right. Then some people to say, "Oh, my pastor has prayed for me." You know, that's a huge one. You know, people are smearing Fritol and all kinds of oils on their breasts in the name of it. You need to get the expert to see what is happening. So instead of going dark and, you know, relying on religion, and religious healers have gained the trust of our people, you know, and they can do all kinds of things with cuts. You know, some people go to, you know, so the traditional religious healers cut the breast, make marks on it, all kinds of stuff. I have seen the breast tumor that have grown up to the knee. Wow. The knee of the person, the breast had grown and expanded and gone huge up to the knee of the person, of the woman. Why? Because she was receiving treatment with a religious leader. Wow. And it's always spiritual. You got to present early. Something that can be treated, you've got to come early. And then some other social aspects is the polygamous nature of our tradition. The man has 3 wives, or the man has a wife, 2 concubines, or, you know, the man has 2 wives and 3 side chicks, all kinds of combinations, you know. Now, if you're one of these ladies and you are competing for the man, and you suddenly see some changes in your breast, you don't want to show, you don't want to talk about it because you're in competition in a race for security. So, and it's real, really. I mean, it's real. So they'll cover it up, they'll pose I'm okay until they can't hide it anymore. So it cuts from financial to social to cultural, and that's really affecting us. But there's nothing mystical about having a breast problem. It could be a gnawing pain somewhere. You need to get it checked. It could just be a little change in the breast, a little swelling. Sometimes even the standard veins, you know, something prominently engorged distended veins on it, tell us a story, and it's important. You need to check it up. And men are not excluded. Men are not excluded. Don't let the pink deceive you. You know, the men are not excluded. Yes.
Wow. Yes. So that is it. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Dr. Paul Jani on the show. And guys, let's check and make sure we get early treatment. It's still the Car Radio Show, your favorite show worldwide. That's how we do it 8 times. Tell Rance at Alliance Francaise. 18th October, guys, don't miss it. If you miss it, Charlie, you go cry. So 7 or 8 p.m. sharp, make sure you are there, and then let's have fun. So that is how we do it on the Car Radio Show. So Doc, before you go, are you on social media?
I am not too active. I've gone a bit rogue on social media.
So what is your handle in case people want to find out more?
Commonly on Facebook, Paul Henry Dsane-Aidoo.
Okay.
On Facebook. I'm fine with that.
You're fine.
All the other IGs and all the other yes, I'm not too much into that, but I'm pretty cool on social media.
Okay.
Yes.
I must say this is very impactful, and we are grateful for having you on the Car Radio Show.
I'm excited to be here.
Thank you.
I've loved
the radio
show.
Doc. So guys, until then, that's how we do it. Enjoy Jolene in the center.